Well, good evening, everybody. It's Dirsa here for 97 Octane Hockey. Tonight we're joined by Josh Boulton from Tough Call Podcast on YouTube. The next George Peros in the wings, and Raghu Sharma from the Heavy Hockey Network. We're going through all the heavy hockey folks, and I think left to go after tonight will be Jeff Aid and the Fantasy Hockey Hacks gang there. We need to reach out to them and try to get them on, see if we can schedule them in. Thanks for joining us. This should be a fun one. We'll talk about a lot of things. Welcome to the show, Josh and Raghu.
Thanks very much, Dirsa.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Dirsa.
Yeah, hopefully the power stays on tonight. We had a bit of a thunder boomer here last night that kicked our power off in Grand Prairie. And Raghu was just telling us backstage that he ran through some power issues, thunder and lightning, as the weather in Alberta has been a little bit volatile this year. How are you guys doing?
Raghu?
Good. I made it here in one piece. So drove nearly 3 hours through rain from Calgary to about Ponoka. It's just, thunderstorm, windshields, max wiper blades. But yeah, it's been a crazy summer.
Have things calmed down out east for you, Josh, there? I know you guys had some fires as well, and Alberta and BC has had wildfires going crazy this year.
Well, yeah, we had a lot of wildfires. It's been nuts. Fortunately for us, it's rained twice since then. Unfortunately for us, the first time was 21 days in a row, and the next time was 18 days in a row. So we went exactly the opposite and just had a ton of rain, which we did need, but I mean, enough was enough at one point, and now we're just finally getting our proper summer. So now we're into a nice bit of a heat wave here, and hopefully it sticks around.
Graham, as we were chatting before we went on here, was talking about dirtiest players of all time, and I think that's a great place to start a show. I mean, for me, I think the dirtiest player I've ever seen is Matt Cook. That guy got into more shit and hurt more guys' careers, I think, than anybody I've ever seen. And I guess we'll go from the bottom up to the top. So Raghu and then Josh and then Chad, go for it.
Yeah, I was saying that's a tough one. I know someone said I was going to say Peros, but I was saying for myself and connecting this to the Oilers, I just thought it was Rafi Torres. Like, I know he didn't do much when he was with Edmonton, but that guy was like a coke addict, would aim for headshots, took out Hossa. Like, I just never liked how he played, and he was one of the few Oilers I just didn't like. I was like, get this guy off the team. So that's the one that comes to top of mind.
Oh, jeez. Like, so for me, I'm looking at it, like, as you know, I study these dangerous incidents. That's what I do on my YouTube. So to me, I just look at maybe who did the dirtiest thing of all time. And I don't know that there's too much dirtier than, say, the Suter hit on Korea that ended his career, basically, or the Dale Hunter hit on Pierre Turgeon. I'm trying to decide between those two things. I might go with Dale Hunter here.
Well, I mean, I hear a lot of dirty hits, but I'm talking consistent dirty players. The only reason that Peros didn't get fined or get any suspensions is because he wasn't running the player safety at the time.
That's fair. Yeah, there's a lot of subtly dirty players. Like Bobby Clark was pretty dirty consistently. Like people like
Drew
that.
Doughty, Corey Perry. I mean, there's
Well,
some
Corey
pretty
Perry,
dirty-
yeah.
There's some pretty dirty guys out there. There's no question. Rafi Torres,
Kessler, Burrows.
Ryan Kessler.
Kevin Bieksa.
Bieksa was hard nosed. I didn't really find him dirty. Like,
Ask Eberle's face if he was dirty.
if you're gonna put Bieksa into the dirty, stratosphere, then Brian Marchman is way ahead of him.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you could put a lot in there. Like you could put Marchand in there if you're gonna say Bieksa is dirty. Like it's just some players are just in the grind, like you said, Durs.
Where are you with Brad Marchand, Josh? Do you find him a dirty player or just a fucking cheesy player?
Well, I mean, look, we all need our villains. We need characters in the game. I do get that. We need our characters, and he's a character. Like if he wasn't as good as he was, I don't think we would put up with as much, and that's probably unfair to say when compared to other people. He's done some really odd things, but like I don't think he's done anything like we're talking about. He's done a few like dirty things, but for the most part, he just does these random things. So he's like his own little category. Like who licks somebody?
Yeah.
Right.
Understand that.
That's a category of his own. Yeah.
Right? Like he's just he's the extreme of everything that he does, and
Brad Marchand and
he
Kenny
amuses me.
Linsman. Brad Marchand and Kenny Linsman are from the same rat family. It's just fact.
Yeah.
I found Linsman though more dirty and more vicious. Like I don't find Marchand vicious, not in the same sense. Like Sam Bennett to me, that guy's vicious when he's dirty.
Oh yeah.
Yes, true.
Yeah, and we had a lot of back and forths on that one, Dirsa. Like during the playoffs, you were saying he should have been suspended, and this goes back to Peros. Like there's no consistency with any of these suspensions being handed out over the last playoffs.
Kind of like his hockey career.
Kachuk and Marchand are kind of cut from the same cloth for me.
Sean Avery was one of those too.
Sean Avery was a shitty human being. That's the problem with Sean Avery.
Sean Avery wanted to be dirty, but he just couldn't. He's like Kachuk. He tries to be dirty. He's a little rat in your face, and then as soon as it comes time to fight your battles, you turtle like a little bitch.
I have a hard time talking about him because I played with him in Bantam. He was my lightweight for a year and a half, and just some of the situations you get into. Obviously, he got a little different as he became a pro. He always had that little streak in him, that little feistiness, and that almost like that arrogantness. But it was, when he was younger, it served him well. And as he got older and into different situations, he just kind of became what he needed to be. I find it's hard to talk about him. I do recommend his book that he wrote. It was a wonderful book. I got it for Christmas, and it really sheds some light on his side of things. Now, it's whether you want to believe his side of things or not, I guess is where you're at. But it's a fascinating read when you hear it from his perspective.
Josh, I'm kind of getting told in the chats that there's a lot of feedback coming from you. I don't hear it here, but I guess they do on the stream, which is interesting.
I didn't have that problem last week with Dash. I'll see what I can do.
Angel's, a resident Oiler / King fan, saying "word up."
No, it's
Angel.
I think it's an interesting one in the modern NHL. It's hard to say like who is dirty. Like some people thought Corey Perry's like single hand punches in a fight is considered dirty because it's dangerous. So we're veering away from that as we move into this more like high scoring offense that we see. Like that, like people would say Pat Maroon could be a dirty player, and like he went after an Oiler earlier this year, and everybody started hating on him too, right? Like just as Oilers fans. So
we've got a question here from Angel that I think we all have to respond to because this is awesome.
Sean Avery.
It's a valid point. Well, is Michael Bunting the modern day Sean Avery? Because that guy just bitches and complains all the time.
The modern day Sean Avery is Matthew Tkachuk, bar none.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah. Matthew plays like he's a big, strong guy, and then when push comes to shove, he gets shoved a lot.
Yeah, it's a good point. Like, this is why I respect Brady more than him. Like, Brady actually, like, instigates fights and then takes them on. He doesn't squirm away, and yeah, so that's valid.
Brady's also built for it more.
Yeah, he is.
So following that up, I guess we'll go with Chad, Josh, and Raghu, dirtiest Oiler of all time. I don't know. For me, I didn't see enough of Ken Lindsman. I think he would be up there, but I don't know. I'm gonna take Marchment.
I've heard rumor of the dirtiest Oiler that ever played was Esa Tikkanen.
Oh.
He had his moments of slew footing quietly and the odd spear to the nutsack that nobody got to see, and he had a game. It was efficient, but a pretty dirty game.
To me, that one goes back to the whole, like, is it sneaky dirty? Is it vicious? I don't know if Essa was really vicious. He was just under your skin, an agitator. He was like the 80s version of Tkachuk and Marchand, probably.
Well, I'm sure if you're one of the guys that took a butt end to the nutsack, you probably think he was vicious dirty.
You'll get over that eventually.
Whatever you say, Lady Byng.
Josh, what do you got?
Jeez, I mean, like you said, it depends on what you call dirty. Esa Tikkanen definitely came to mind. I mean, his nickname was the Great One, Grate.
Yeah.
This came up on a Twitter chat recently. I found out about that, and I've always liked that nickname for him. But I mean, is someone like Mark Messier dirty? The same way Gordie Howe is dirty, that sort of thing, right? Like Messier's done some pretty dirty things in his day. I do think all-stars have done some dirty things out of necessity with the way the league allows it to happen. But boy, I don't know. That's a fun question, but I would stick with Esa Tikkanen if I had to pick one right now.
Well, apparently with that logic, Leon Draisaitl chirping fucking Kings, he deserved a penalty for that, apparently.
2 minutes for hurting feelings.
Yeah, hurt feeling report that Dowdy had to fill out.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. This is such a franchise-dependent question because there are plenty of Kings fans that think Draisaitl is dirty, but then they also want Draisaitl on their team. So, I don't know. For me, like, I grew up in the '90s, obviously, and like went through a decade of darkness, and I'm like, who was dirty? Like, I think of more modern, chirpy players, and that's why I was saying like the Torreses, the Cassians. Like, these are the closest players I can think of, but I don't know. Maybe I'm too close to my own team to think anyone's that dirty.
Well, Rafi Torres was not dirty. Rafi Torres was tough as nails. He fits in that question to me where you put Bieksa. You say Bieksa plays hard. Rafi Torres, don't get in his bubble. He'll fuck you up. He didn't have it.
Rafi got a little bit off track when he went to San Jose. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. But not as an Oiler, he didn't.
Not as an Oiler, yeah.
No. I see him a lot as like the pre-Cassian. I mean, a lot of the same characteristics. I didn't find Cassian to be a dirty player most of the time.
Yeah.
There was some shit that happened, but I don't think he was going out of his way to be a dirty player. Like,
I mean, if we're going to talk about dirty players, what about Todd Bertuzzi?
Oh, yeah. Well, I was going to say, doesn't this kind of speak something about our team? Maybe we struggled so much for so long because we didn't really have that dirty player that scared anyone. That's why half the time we were an infirmary ward because our players were just getting knocked around and then injured for half a season, and then you're already out of the playoff race by November.
Yeah.
Well, Cass brought a lot of...
you have to be a little bit dirty to succeed.
Oh, you do. I agree.
On the edge, but not over it most of the time. So on to what's going to have to happen this season to replace the loss of Klim Kostin and Nick Bukestad, we're going to need Raphael Lavoie and Dylan Holloway to step up in a major way. I'm wondering, Josh, being from Halifax there, if you got to see Lavoie play live a few times for the Mooseheads, and what's your thoughts on him? And, obviously it's a big ask, asking a young player to make the leap from the AHL to the NHL and contribute and kind of pick up for two guys that did a pretty good job in the bottom six. Do you think he's capable of that? Do you see him on the team on opening night? Or is he kind of flipping between the Oilers and the AHL? And then Raghu, I'd like your thoughts and chat after that.
Well, he's on a two-way deal, right?
Yes.
So I see him flipping, but he's a pro. Like, he's already a pro player. I don't see him as a young person. We're talking Lavoie that needs to make too many adjustments. And what I really like is the timing for him. Some of these other young guys, I don't think the culture was there in Edmonton. I don't think the structure was there in Edmonton to allow a young player to succeed, maybe the way it is right now, where they can play the role that they're actually designed to play instead of putting too much hope on them. I know Costin's a huge loss to me. I love the way he played the game and what he brought, and I don't think Lavoie is right there yet. But we had a little talk about our size in the group chat too. I mean, Lavoie is what, 6'4", 200 almost, right?
So he is 6 foot. I think he's 6 foot even. Yeah, I think he's 6 foot even, 196 pounds.
Oh, 6 foot even. Okay, either way, he's ready. Like, he's a pro right now. That's what I'm saying. Like, he's good to go. And I think the way the Oilers are structured now, they can play appropriate roles and ease themselves into things without having to do too much. And I think, there's a little bit of a recipe for a little more success from these guys now. And then a coach that's not afraid to use them when they're needed to. That's a big thing for me too.
Yeah, just continuing on that, I think to Josh's point, we have a solidified top six now. I think Connor Brown is a big adjustment on Yamamoto, although we still have to see with his injury, but I think he's a better player. So this does allow players like Holloway and Lavoie to build in a bottom six, playing against opposition's third and fourth lines. And it's their opportunity to take it, on top of the fact that we are cap strapped the way that we are. So I think Dylan Holloway had a good step last year. Unfortunately, that injury kind of set him back, but he knows what it takes. He's a big boy too. And so I think with McLeod taking on a bigger role, especially the way he's going to come out after he signs his new contract, I think our bottom six is speedy. And I think that'll help our boys.
Yeah, I don't disagree with anything you guys said. The only thing I wish that would happen is that with those two working their way into the lineup, Dylan, I hope, works really hard and shows us what he's all about, because I know that he's a very talented hockey player. The same thing, he's very, very good. I think he's going to be a great addition to the team, but I just don't see why we don't have Jonathan Toews in the lineup yet.
That actually is a good segue into one of my questions that I'll just go to now. Is there anyone that the Oilers should be targeting with the remaining cap space if they can get McLeod and Bouchard locked up and have any money left? Do you guys think that they need to go after somebody that's previously won cups to fill out the roster? Raghu, you can take that, and then Josh, and then Chad.
Yeah, I was listening to Oilers Now today, and I love Jonathan Toews. I think he's awesome, but what is he going to be like after 2.5 years of the struggle he's been through? He's a great leader. He's won cups, but the Oilers have been through this now twice. They went from Final Four finish, Final Eight finish. If they beat Vegas, who knows what would have happened. I think this team knows what it takes to win, so they don't really need other voices. They've almost cultivated that with the people in the room, and they have their own battle wounds now of what it takes to win. So if you could get a Jonathan Toews on a league minimum, while fitting in the other two contracts that we're talking about, it'd be great. But I almost think this is something we push out closer to the trade deadline. And now that we're not in LTIR, we can also help expand out like that remaining pool of money, right? So we can look for a better player as the season progresses.
Yeah. I don't think we need to necessarily need anyone that's winning the cup right now. I think that would almost be an insult to the guys that have been there for that long. Like, they've already got themselves this far, they're primed and ready for it. And then if someone just strolls in that's won the cup before, is here for 2 months and wins the cup, and then he gets all the credit, like, I don't think that's where we're at right now. I think these guys know what it takes. They have the taste, they have the drive, and they've been through it, and we need to trust them to finish the job. Something that I believe, someone I believe Lotard mentioned that I would like to go for is someone like Igor Sokolov. He was a lot of fun to watch in the World Juniors a few years ago, and he's been trying to be a professional hockey player for some time now. A couple of years in the Ottawa system, and I think he'd be a good target for someone that would fill out a bottom six with a lot of size and a lot of drive to make a club. I think someone like that. We're talking about Jonathan Toews. I don't know how many ex-Blackhawks we want to go with that beat us in the preliminary round once. They were hard to play against in a round that wasn't even a playoff round. And these are the guys that are supposed to teach us how to win. I know Duncan Keith worked out pretty well in the end, but I don't think we need to seek that out or go out of our way unless, like Raghu said, you can get them on like $1 million or less, like the league minimum, like Corey Perry did that every year. That's the only time. Don't go out of your way to make it happen just for the sake of making it happen.
Right.
But if you get JT at the league minimum and he wants to come and play here, be close to home, play with Connor, he won't actually play with them, but give him a lighter load, have him work with the bottom six. You're not going to be hurting. You're just not. A guy like him working with those young kids that are in the bottom six, he's going to turn them in the top six. And if we can get him cheap, then what's the harm?
Yep.
I'm all for getting him at a discount, but Oilers now brought up that his family isn't moving out of Chicago, and so he's going to be like an absentee father and all that kind of stuff. And at this stage of his career, I mean, does he really want to do that? I don't know. Depends if he still wants another Stanley Cup. If he does, then okay, swing for the moon. But
it's not even just another.
But keep swinging for the moon under $1 million a season.
Exactly.
There's a lot of players right now that just want to experience what it's like to play with Connor McDavid.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that would be Jonathan Toews, or he would fall into that category, though, being at this stage of his career. I mean, that sense of wonderment, I think, is probably reserved for younger guys or somebody that's never won before and wants to have a shot at it, join the party.
Yeah, I mean, if there was any year, it would be this year, just because of the way so many teams are cap strapped the way they are, the way that so many players have taken single year deals because they're waiting for the cap to increase next year. So this would be the 1 year where I could see it happening, but I still don't know if I do.
So one of the other questions I've got, and this time we'll go Chad, Josh, Raghu, is if there's one rule change in the NHL that you could make if you had the power to, by the power of Grayskull, you could change a rule in the NHL. What would it be? And for me, I would actually, have a penalty in that gets enforced where hits from behind are actually taken seriously. That to me is the biggest joke in the NHL, that you can run somebody from behind and skate away a lot of times unscathed. So for me, I would start handing out some 5-minute majors for hits from behind.
My rule change would be play Jack Campbell after game 2 in LA. Oh shit! Sorry. No, I definitely.
You can run with that if you want. I'll allow it.
I would axe the instigator penalty, the extra 2 in the fight, because unfortunately the running around and people getting their heads knocked off is only going to be fixed one way. It's been proven by the past. So I still think that there's a place in hockey for guys getting their teeth beat in if they want to play that dirty game we were talking about, and they should be accountable for their actions.
You got an agreement from Angel. Surprise, surprise. He loves you. What do you got, Josh?
Angel? On Campbell or the instigator?
Probably both.
I mean, my main rule change is to just call the rule book at all times. Like that's the rule change should be that you don't have a playoff rule book. That's my rule change.
There you go.
If I had to pick an actual rule, I hate shootouts. I would bring back ties and change the point structure of the table.
What are you, a communist? You want ties?
Well, I'd rather
continuous overtime till there's a winner. Come on. Fuck travel schedules.
That's what it takes. But if they have to cut the game off at some point, then don't let it end in a shootout. Give them the points some other way by rewarding a regulation win for more than it is now, I guess.
I was actually fine with ties too.
Yeah, Josh, you just kind of stole two of my answers. My first one was specifically around that. It's not even just the fact that they call the playoffs different. It's even if a player commits like a vicious act, the suspension handout is also different. Like I just don't find that fair either. It's like a Makar in a game 5 can hit somebody and that's a 1-game suspension. But if it happens early enough in the series, Michael Bunting gets 3 games. And that could go player to player, but there is no consistency there. So that's one thing I would fix. I don't know what it'll take to fix that because a lot of us have been asking that for years. And
sounds like you should all subscribe to Tough Call.
And then I do agree with even if you don't do ties, like you do a different point structure because the Flames had 13 loser points and almost made the playoffs. Like that, and it's not just because it's Calgary. Like no team should be making the playoffs when they have
loser
that kind
points.
of.
I like that.
Yeah,
I'm going to use that from now on.
Yeah. It's like you do like a 3-2-1-0 kind of breakdown with regulation wins. It shouldn't just be in the structure of the standings, which I know they now go by regulation wins versus regulation plus overtime wins, but it should also do with the overall point standings.
I like shootouts from an entertainment aspect, but I hate it from a points collecting aspect. Let's just play overtime till there's a winner. Like, come on.
Yeah.
I love that people will always say. They tell me to watch soccer.
Right now. I said Sportsnet's hating Dirsa right now.
Sportsnet's hating Dirsa right now.
Sportsnet hates everybody. They eat their own, so fuck them.
People tell me to watch soccer all the time and that I want to ruin hockey. And here we are. We want 3 points for a win. And we want to go mid-season tournaments now they're talking about. Well, who does that? Soccer.
The NBA. Apparently.
Everybody now.
Mid-season? No.
So this one's
actually, Angel's got a good point, too. I was just going to say, he just wrote, I think we need to challenge penalties. I would totally have challenged that penalty on Broberg. That was 200 feet away. Like, come on.
I would have challenged the penalty on Drew Doughty's hurt feelings, too.
So I didn't allow any of you guys to prep for this, but Josh will probably have an answer. I want to know, it doesn't have to be in order, but your top 5 favorite sports films, and we'll let Chad, Raghu go, Tough Call go, and then I'll go last.
Don't make me go think now.
All right, Raghu, go first.
Oh my God, top 5 favorite sports. Like this could be anything, like boxing.
Yeah, whatever. Oh, yeah. Whatever.
Okay. I would say I still think Miracle is probably my favorite sports movie that I've ever seen. Then Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
I'm one of those guys who actually prefers Creed over Rocky, so I don't know which one to number, but Creed, then Rocky probably. And then what would a 5th one be?
We're gonna make an adjustment on the fly here. Angel says it's easier to bring me on, Mike, so I just send him a show link. So sorry, Raghu, you had Creed?
I had, my first was Miracle, then Field of Dreams, and then I had Creed. I would say the first Creed, and then Rocky 4 is my favorite Rocky, so that'd probably be 4. And I'm trying to think of a fifth one, but nothing's coming to mind at the moment. So I'll stick with those 4.
Yeah, I'm ready
Okay.
now.
All right, give her.
Okay, Rocky 4, definitely. Yeah, Happy Gilmore, definitely.
Oh, yes. There we go. That's my 5.
Slapshot, 100%. Caddyshack, and Rudy.
Boy. Geez, a lot of my favorite sports movies seem to be baseball related. I like Field of Dreams. I like A League of Their Own. I would put Mystery Alaska in there for hockey. I like Tin Cup. I think that's great. And my favorite sports movie of all time, I don't know how many that is. My favorite sports movie of all time is Major League. There's not a question in my mind. I would watch Major League every day, twice a day if I could. It's the greatest sports movie there ever was. And
Well,
I'd throw Rudy in that mix as well. It really
Yeah. And Happy Gilmore.
So I gotta. This is tough because I like a lot of sports movies, but I gotta go Youngblood, Slapshot, The Program, White Man Can't Jump, and what am I gonna go for number 5? Oh man, yeah, that's. Oh man, yeah, Rocky 4 is probably the one I've seen the most.
I love this. Rocky 4.
Oh yeah, Drago and Rocky.
Drago, man.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, though, because you just said sports movies, but there's also, like, context around sports movies. Like, Moneyball is one of my favorite movies.
Sure.
But it's more about the
Doesn't matter.
Analytics behind sports.
I'll allow it. Anything to do with sports.
Ooh, yeah, I'm going to throw Draft Day in there, too.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
Draft Day is awesome.
That's a good one.
You know what? I didn't even. Bull Durham is right there for me too. To me, that like I like Major League from a comedy aspect, but Bull Durham, like the pitcher catcher relationship in that is like second to none. It's unbelievable. I like the one too. I can't remember what it's called. It's Kevin Costner as well, but where he's talking to himself and he's the pitcher.
In Love of the Game.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Billy Chappell, yeah.
I'm just glad nobody said The Replacements.
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
No. Keanu, I love Keanu, but that was just not good.
Yeah.
I mean, although you cannot knock the fact that Kathy Ireland looked damn good in that movie.
She usually does. She's a little corporate now, but she's still a good-looking lady.
Yeah.
Angel just said Blindside. That was a good movie too.
That's a good one. Any Given Sunday was good.
Angel, man, I sent you a show link. You can hop on here and talk to us in person if you want.
The kicker was the best part of the movie. The kicker's always the best part of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when it's Kathy Ireland.
Oh, Dash is saying Point Break.
Why is Commodore even commenting?
Oh, careful. That takes hot. Yeah.
Love you, Commodore.
I can see him yelling at you.
As long as he's wearing that wig,
Oh man!
I was also going to say some of the biopics they've done recently too. I don't know if you guys saw Air yet. That's an awesome movie.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's well done. Yeah, I mean, if we're open up to that.
Dash is about to go to an investigation here.
I was just the guy that reminded me of you, Dash. That's all.
So now we're about 35 minutes in, and we need to fill another 20 or so minutes worth of show content, and I'm running out of material. But
Show of hands.
Space Jam, yeah, the original or the
original.
the reboot.
Oh,
Yeah.
I refuse to watch the reboot.
Yeah, I won't do it. That's like watching Teen Wolf 2. You just can't do it. Teen Wolf. I forgot about Teen Wolf.
There you go.
And no one's watching Teen Wolf 2. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No one's watching the reboot of Space Jam any more than they're watching Teen Wolf 2.
Yeah, this is just like Dirsa with White Men Can't Jump. You're not going to watch the new one.
I probably will, just to pick it apart. Chad, your best friend's going to get a putter.
Attaboy.
Well, Dirsa, how about this question? What do you think if, like we were talking about this offline, but the decor is essentially remaining the same.
Yeah.
What do we think here? We've got 2 years left on Drive, 3 on McDavid, and you've kind of got this decor locked up for that length of time, unless you make some sort of trade here. It's got cash in, cash out. So what do we think?
So I found it interesting. You were challenging like the size of our back end, and I did the exercise of going through, like Broberg, Nurse, Ekholm, Desharnais, Kulak, and Ceci. And I mean, they're all the smallest guy of the bunch is Kulak, and so like we don't have a small back end. Insert your Kim Kardashian joke if you will, but yeah, like size, I don't think is our problem on our decor. We just need, honestly, I'm willing to give Cody Ceci a look during the season to see if he can regain the form he had from 2 years ago. This last season, I think he was hurt for most of it, so I give him a bit of a pass. We could use an upgrade there no matter what, is kind of my thinking. If he's your third pairing right shot D, you got a pretty good decor. So that's kind of the area that I'd like to see improve. Just a better player there. No slight to him. He is what he is, but just a better right shot D on that top pair, I guess, or if you want to call them the second pair now that Ekholm and Bouchard are playing pretty well. I'm okay with that. To me, it doesn't really matter. Just you need to put capable people on the ice and guys that can do the job in those pressure cooker moments. So that's going to be the thing to watch for, and maybe an upgrade there at the trade deadline is really what this team is going to need, to make a serious run at the Cup.
Yeah, that's a good point. And sorry, I wasn't. You're right about the height thing. I guess I think more about, does our defense have enough bite?
Yeah, I mean, if you're asking for players of a more physical nature, I think you got that in Spades and Desharnais. I think you've got that in Darnell Nurse, and I think you have that in Ekholm. When you start looking at Broberg, Bouchard, and Ceci, that's not really their forte. So yeah, if you want 6 out of 6 guys to have bite in their game, you're probably going to sacrifice some puck moving ability and overall skill. So you want to have a bit of both, and we've got that right now. I just think we need a little bit of an upgrade on that right side.
Yeah,
I think if the coaching staff is smart, they make every single defenseman in the entire system spend the entire summer watching Chris Russell videos, and then we'll have a good defensive core.
Dash is part of the Swedish AB watch team, and he's saying Broberg is chiseled out of stone. And then he's taking a page out of Brian Burke saying truculence.
Truculence. I love that, Dash.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess that's a good point, Dirsa. Like with Ekholm being there for a full season, if Nurse and Ceci are playing more second pairing minutes, maybe that's what this team needed, and it's more a recalibration of the defense with the same roster.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, Josh. I wouldn't mind seeing, a little bit of tinkering with pairings. I don't think you need to staple everybody to everybody if it isn't quite working the way you want it to. You can mix it up a little bit. Try some other things. I think that's what the regular season is for. I don't think you really do that too much in the playoffs, but figure it out during the season.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we need to go more of a next man up kind of mentality. We tend to go 11-7, so we have to do that with our forwards anyway. So why not mix it up instead of going 3 straight pairs and how do you work that other guy in? Just who's ready? Let's go. Let's see what you got. Let's make things happen. And I know it goes without saying, but like it's one of those Captain Obvious things that you always see. What are the 3 keys to the game? And it's like take a lot of shots and throw a lot of hits. It's always something stupid that every team wants to do. But honestly, I think our team wants to spend as little time in our end as possible. Probably more so compared to others, right? Because we have a lot of offense, and that's where we want to have the puck, is up in the neutral zone more, like Vegas used to. Vegas used to turn that puck on a dime and be gone in your end before you even realized that they had the puck from you in the O when you're in the O zone, and they already have 2 shots on goal before you make it past your red line to get back into your own zone. That's what we should ask our D to do. We don't necessarily need people to be bruisers and just manhandle everybody. We need people that can win a battle, grab the puck, and get it out of the zone and save themselves from having to be in those battles, in my opinion, and let the forwards do the work.
Like I said, watch a bunch of Chris Russell videos.
Dashny's advocating for the soft call chirp in our group chat to be the name of your new show.
Well, I was going to say, I actually love Josh's response because it segued into a second question that I was also thinking of, which was, like, we saw the unbelievable season that both McDavid and Draisaitl had from points. Essentially our top 6, and we had, 12, 10-goal scorers, double-digit scorers. Like, it was a great season. But what do you guys think about this 11-7 philosophy? I think McDavid and Draisaitl are playing too much in the regular season. So I think they need to opt more for a 12-6 and try to limit those guys' minutes a little bit so they're not kind of overextending themselves going into the playoffs.
Don't tell them that.
Yeah. I know they're the best, but still, like, it does catch up with you when you're playing physical teams like the Pacific Division is made of. Like, going through an LA, going through a Vegas, and then next year the Avs are going to be back again. The West is a brutal division to go through. I think it does wear on even them.
I would argue it's not so much about ice time, it's about shift management. So if you're playing 21 minutes a night, but you're doing that over 17 shifts, over a minute a shift is what I'm saying. That's different than playing 21 minutes a night where you're playing 27, 28 shifts. Where with the 11-7, you can take advantage of an opponent that's caught and you throw a guy out and take a chance. And if that shift's only 15 seconds and then there's a whistle, take them off then, right? So be it. These guys don't have to. Their problem is that they don't. They used to a lot more not come off. They thought they had to do everything themselves, and they'd stay on and be half-assed for a minute and a half, and then explode for 30 seconds, and then they're tired, and then they stay on instead of making that change. If they could be explosive the entire time they're on the ice, and almost be, you can play those minutes and still be fresh, depending on how you manage those shifts. I think that's what they need to do more of, is accept that the opportunity's over, get off the ice, let someone else go so that you're ready to go the next time.
So not a fan of the 2.5-minute shifts in overtime, huh, Josh?
No, not at all. I mean, 3-on-3 is a different beast and whatever, but no, there's too many things that can go wrong.
Oh, man. So are there any sleeper movies in your guys' collection that we should talk about? You know, any hidden gems that we're forgetting here? I mean, Angel brought up Blue Chips, the movie with, what is it, Shaquille O'Neal, Penny Hardaway, and I forget who the other guy in that one was. We're going into the deep basketball collection there. Like, I don't know. What is that what is that old hockey movie with like Megan Follows and Anybody know what I'm talking about? Where she was the goalie? That's going way back.
Oh man, no, I don't. I'm starting to. As soon as you said other sports movies, I was like, what were those like? There was like, I remember watching these as a kid, like the
Mighty Ducks.
the air. Well, Mighty Ducks, obviously, but I was like the Air Buds.
Oh, like Mike. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Mike was great growing up. That was good.
World Pop, that's a gem, right? The Airbud World Pop.
I was thinking.
Does the first Ace Ventura count as a sports movie?
Sure.
Yes.
Michael is Finkel.
Finkel is Einhorn.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, I love that movie.
I love that movie too.
I particularly enjoyed an episode when I was a kid of the Raccoons when they played hockey. That was a good episode.
I believe that's how I end the show every time. Keep your sticks on the ice and keep reaching for the stars. There was an old volleyball movie too with St. John Smith and Randy Stokely. I think it was just called Kings of the Beach. That was all right. Lots of scenery on the beach and those guys playing a little volleyball. Yeah, it was good.
There's a classic 80s movie called BMX.
There we go.
I love that movie.
That's a deep track. Yeah.
Lord, I need to watch more movies.
And does the volleyball scene in Top Gun where they play?
There we go.
There you go.
They're in jeans.
The Maverick, dueling football scene.
Yes. Why are they doing that? Let's just wear jeans to the beach and play volleyball.
That's Maverick. You gotta do that one.
Oh, I was gonna say the one I saw last year, which was like it's tennis. I love tennis, so it's tennis focused. Was King Richard? That was really good. Will Smith and Serena Williams' father. That was
Karate Kid, Angel.
Karate Kid. Oh, did you guys see Uncle Drew?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
I like that movie.
Yeah. Oh, there was Bagger Vance. We never mentioned that one.
Oh yeah.
Bagger Vance is good. Bend it like Beckham.
Southpaw was really good.
Yes.
42. That's a great movie.
Oh, Jackie Robinson, right? Yeah.
Gridiron Gang.
The Rock.
Gridiron.
The Sandlot.
There was that Formula One too with what was it called? Rush. That was really good.
I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up the movie Concussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that was a good one. Oh man, that was an intense movie.
And I mean, now that we're bringing car racing into the sports realm, I got to go with the old Days of Thunder.
Days of Thunder, yes.
Concussion.
That, my friend, rubbing his racing.
Yeah.
Concussion segue us back right to George Playhouse.
Yeah. Okay. We
it
gotta,
all comes full circle.
We got to help to promote Josh's channel a little bit. So.
Oh yeah.
When
I'm a new subscriber.
He's gained one subscriber before we even had him on. That's how much influence this show has.
Yeah.
Josh, if you got the job of being the head of player safety, what is the first order of business that you do? Because I'm thinking if you already got the job, Colin Campbell is not there anymore, so you can't say that. So,
I mean, educate everybody in the circles, officials, players, GMs. My first order of business was to educate them on the language of the rule book and basically tighten the definition of the existing rules, tighten the standard of the existing rules. And I really liked what Shanahan used to do, was show videos. Did I always agree with his videos? No, but they do the videos now of their suspensions and stuff, and they do try and put out some explanation videos. But I would do a lot of those, which I do now, about what the goal is. So you can't just tell people what not to do and then say vague answers like, if he chooses to make this hit, he must do so from an angle of approach that doesn't target the head. Well, that doesn't help anybody because that's what they think they're doing now. You really have to break the movements down like you would skating. A skating stride, you break it down into mechanics and how it works. You do the same thing with body check. there's no reason to extend or explode or upward or hit anyone from behind. I'm with you, Dirce. There's way too many checks from behind. I don't know why they have a checking from behind rule because I don't remember the last time they called it. They never call it an open ice, and whenever it's against the boards, they just resort to boarding. So if you're not going to call it, why do you have it? So basically, I would just make sure that people understood the language of the rule and my interpretation of it moving forward. Players are super, super smart. They can adjust to anything if you give them the opportunity to adjust. Like when they tried to change the standard of cross-checking for a week and a half that one time, that was fine, right? And they adjusted, and it was fine. They can do that with every other rule. Just change the standard slightly so that what's a minor now is probably a major, and what's a borderline call is a minor, and your borderline standard just shrinks that little bit. It's not moving the needle much, but it's moving it just a little bit to make them think a little bit more about what they're doing.
Yeah.
So one more question about sports movies. I want you guys to think of your favorite line in any sports movie. Chad, go first, and then Josh, and then Raghu, and then I'll go.
Actually, it's from A League of Their Own. It's there's no crying in baseball.
Oh, boy. I think my favorite line is from Major League when they're sitting at a restaurant and Charlie Sheen's in no sleeves and a tie, and he's like, I look like a banker in this thing. That's one of the funniest lines of any.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I know we didn't say Jerry Maguire, but "Show me the money" is the only thing that's coming to my head right now. Is one of the most iconic lines in a movie.
That works. I'm gonna quote "White Man Can't Jump." My favorite part is Woody standing there and watching the two black guys go after it, and Duncan and kind of winning handily against these other nobodies, and he sits there and he starts chirping. He's like, "Somebody got a wheelbarrow? I think we should collect all these bricks and build a shelter for the homeless." What is this, a Masons convention? That way we'll build that homeless shelter. That way your mother and your sister have a place to live. In fact, I want them out of my house immediately. I kind of butchered it, but you kind of get the point.
No, that was pretty good.
That one's awesome. And the other one is from Major League, and that ball wouldn't be out of most parks. I'll name one. Yellowstone.
I was also going to say, I know we were talking a lot about movies, but to me, if I think of something in the last 5 years that's one of the best sports things ever, it's Ted Lasso. If you've never seen that show, you're missing out. Like, that was 3 seasons of perfection around sports and sports mentality.
Do you guys have a documentary that you enjoy?
Like a sports one?
Yeah.
Boys in the Bus.
I still watch it.
Oh, yeah.
There was a great documentary on the Summit series of 72 I had on VHS when I was a kid. And I'll
Oh, we lost Josh. He was right in the middle of telling us a great story. He gone. Josh, if you're out there, come back. I'll get you back in. That was fucking hilarious. He gone.
I was gonna say for sports docs, like I really like the new one they just did with the Lakers. I really like that one.
I haven't seen that. Showtime, yeah.
Yeah, that one's really good. It sucks because Kobe Bryant is my favorite athlete of all time, just across any sports. I just loved his work ethic and everything, and kind of grew up with watching the way he approached sports. So that's why when sometimes players are soft, I'm like, Jesus Christ. But I really liked that one they did, and then obviously The Last Dance was really good. And I just watched The Dream Team on Netflix. That was good too, about the most recent U.S. team that did basketball.
Yeah, the Redeem Team.
The Redeem Team. Sorry, the Redeem Team.
Yeah. It shows you who's the man back then too. Yeah. It wasn't LeBron. It was Kobe.
No, it was Kobe.
Another good one is
That-
Full Swing. It's new. Full Swing's awesome.
I don't know, Chad, if you've actually saw that Redeem Team thing, but it is legendary. Like, the Mike Krzyzewski, the coach of that dream team, former Duke. We got Josh on his phone here. So Mike Krzyzewski ran that program, and he made their summer camp in Vegas, and I think he did it on purpose to see who wanted to win and who wanted to party. And a bunch of those guys, they were going out till 2-3 in the morning and coming home, and they would pass Kobe in the lobby at 4 o'clock in the morning going to work out.
Yeah.
And then they were all like, holy shit, is this what we're here for? and he'd have 2 workouts in before they got up from being hungover. Like, it's, yeah. So he taught them what it took to kind of become winners. And then they show the first game over at the Olympics, and Kobe's up against Pau Gasol, his Laker teammate, and the first play, Kobe just runs him over. And Pau's a 7-footer. I mean, Kobe's like 6'6", 6'5", and he ran over Pau. Like, he ran right through him and knocked him on his ass.
And this was his teammate for 2 championships. So.
Yeah, didn't bother to help him out. Really, I think he probably should have got ejected, but. Yeah, it's a good look into, like, in intensity, and so is The Last Dance. I mean, you see what Michael Jordan's all about, and I think we got an individual that plays for us that's kind of got that same mentality, and in fact, I think we probably have at least 2 of them. So it's a good time to be an Oilers fan. Welcome back, Josh. So you were talking about the Summit Series before you just kind of exited stage left. I think I saw a bit of what you're talking about, or maybe it was something else, but did that show like their pre-games before they actually played in the Summit Series over in Europe?
Yes, it did. Yeah.
And that, like, when we were talking about dirty and vicious, I mean, that was vicious. That was on another level of vicious. Most guys today do not have a clue how vicious that was. Like, yeah.
I didn't have a clue until I watched the documentary. I mean,
I didn't either.
But like, you watch the highlights and you just see the Henderson goal, and that's the Instagram moment, the equivalent of back then. But you don't see all the dirt and the grime that went into that, and especially to be enlightened on games in Europe. And what those guys did, that was basically just get it all out of your system, do whatever you need to do. And, it was basically greaseball, let's just brawl and become brothers kind of hockey. And, as tough call, I shouldn't condone that, but the way it worked out, I'm, as a Canadian, pretty excited about it.
Dash chirping you a little bit.
Yeah.
And I have never seen what Angel's talking about, Full Swing. I haven't seen that one.
It's an in-depth look to the PGA. Yeah.
Okay.
Paulina.
Paulina's in it.
So I think before we close here, I want to ask you guys, expectations of the upcoming season. I've been thinking for 3 years that this was kind of going to be the apex of what we were building towards was going to be this year. I really think having a full season of Matthias Ekholm helping out on that back end is going to pay some dividends. And I am a little concerned about losing Nick Bukestad and Clem Costin. Costin more from a personality standpoint, I think, than anything. I mean, he had a wicked snapshot. I won't deny him that. And he played a physical brand of hockey and seemed to have this approach of, playing every game like it's going to be his last, kind of like Messier would say. But I like the addition of Connor Brown. Nothing against Yamamoto, but I don't think he's been all that effective for probably at least 2 years. With us. So I'm interested to see, what that's going to do to the top 6. And although we were pretty lucky from an injury standpoint last year for most of the season, I think when playoffs rolled around, there were some nagging stuff to some key players that held us back a little bit. I think if we can fix our penalty kill and get that to be more competitive than it was last year, we all know the power play is going to still be a force to be reckoned with. and it's a pretty dangerous lineup. Some other teams, around the conference have kind of taken a bit of a step back, and I think it's us in Vegas time to shine again, as it was last year. And hopefully this is the year we get past them. I have a good feeling about this. I don't like to say we're going to get it done, but I like our chances. Chad go first, and then Raghu, and then Josh.
I think Campbell's going to have a much better year now that he went back to his old camp. Sorry, Dustin Schwartz, but you're a loser.
Once per game, once per show.
I'm just saying, yeah. I think that our goaltending this season is going to be stellar. With Stewart and Jack, I think it's going to be a whole different ballgame than we saw last year, which is going to be a big upgrade, especially at the start of the year. It's getting our confidence level higher long before Christmas. I think you guys are right. PK, they got to watch Chris Russell videos. I hate to say it again, beating a dead horse, but that's what they got to do. And, you can't knock the power play. It's number one the world's ever seen. So I think it's going to be a great year. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I think this playoffs, I hope that coaching staff has learned a lot from last season and how they should make the decisions, like putting Campbell in after game 2 in LA. And we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think I echo a lot of what both of you said, especially Dirsa. The one thing I was just going to correct was that we were kind of injured in the first half of the season, like Kane's wrist slash, and then I think McLeod, Fogle, Yamo were all out for periods of time, and Campbell struggled, Skinner had to step up. So I think it was one of those things where the Oilers kind of peaked a little too early, and then the expectations were so high. What was it, like a 12-game winning streak before the playoffs? So I agree. Campbell bounced back. Top 6 looks solid. Power play still good. So I still think the Oilers will be a top 6 team by the time the season's done. It's just about building off of the pain of the loss, and they got to show that once they get to playoff time. So I don't predict this is the year it's going to be a cup. They got to show us.
I think 1,000% is them. I know a lot of people talk about the job Ken Holland. The last you put a team up that can get it up, and he has done nothing but add to it, make it better. You have to always look at it like the last 15. So how many times was I stay up and that the games don't even start till after? How often was I willing to stay up? Not very often for a long time, for dark times. And when they give up one goal, they give up one goal, and that's it. No, not coming back. One goal. Now, when they're down 4-5, it's not okay. We decide to do it. I've done nothing but avoid the team the last 3 years, and when they looked like they weren't going to get the spot even in February and March, gave up on them. This team doesn't have mistakes. Just enjoy the moment, and then I do. It's going to be the year, and it's up to these guys to get all the tools in place, everything they can get it done, and that have the extra forces put through that. So this is be a very.
Well, I don't know why, but that seemed really choppy there. Your closing statement, Josh. Your audio is really clear, but it was like you were on a roller coaster. It was all over the place. So
yeah,
probably my phone.
Oh yeah, I don't know. It's okay right now. So tomorrow night, Oilers Live. Tune in to that. He usually goes around 9 Mountain, midnight 30 in Nova Scotia, I believe, or something like that. I'm not sure what their show plan is for tomorrow. I know they've got a bunch of the crew from 1260 coming on, but I don't know if that's tomorrow or when they're doing that. We've got Rob Shrimp coming on with us on a Sunday show at 9:00 in the morning, July 30th. Rob's, I think, 7 hours ahead of us, so we're going to get up early and cater to him. And we're going to do a little bit of a series kind of, between the shooter and goalie kind of cat and mouse games, since Chad and Bob are former goalies and Robbie was a former sniper. So that should be fun. And Rob does coaching and stuff overseas in Latvia. So we're looking forward to that. Thanks a lot, Raghu and Josh, for coming on. You can subscribe to Fantasy Hockey Hacks as well. They're the newest members of the heavy hockey team, for all your fantasy hockey insights there. And of course, our man above me there, Tough Call Pod. We like to chirp him in the chats, and you can chirp him on his videos and have some fun with them. Josh has a pretty good hockey mind. Hopefully he doesn't hear that, and his speakers aren't working. But thank you both for coming on. As always, Chad, it's a pleasure doing this with you, and looking forward to kind of gaining steam and gaining momentum here going through the summer, trying to just, keep the Oiler talk alive and people engaged, and looking forward to, this upcoming season. I've thought for a while that the build was for this year, and I really believe that. I believe they gave some young players a little bit of a time to kind of grow and mature. I won't say over-ripen, but I guess I just did. But, I thought the plan was to shoot for this season, and I fully believe that. So I'm excited for that. Yeah, we're going to go into the season with not maybe a ideal or perfect lineup, but you never truly have that. And I do think I agree with Dash and Mr. Hebert that the idea of kind of building as we go is probably the right approach to take. I mean, injuries can happen, and sometimes you can get players on a discount, like we got Clem Costin. Maybe there's another Costin waiting in the wings that we can pick up. Another castaway from another organization that might just be a great fit here, like he was. And, who knows, maybe Nick Bukestad wants to come back in the spring for another playoff run and gets tired of the desert. On that note, I will shut her down and leave how we always do. Keep your sticks on the ice, keep reaching for the stars, and go Oilers, go. We'll catch you next time. Good night, everybody.